Vera Kalyana Sadhanaka Jagate Ashiye Madhurana Avidyati Mera Tapana Rupe Hridagagane Biraje Krishna Nam Sudha Kore Yapan Jurao Bhakati Vinoda Pran Nama bina kichu nahi koara Chauda bhuvana maje Jeev jago, jeev jago Gora Chandra bole Kota nidra jao maya Pishachira kole Bajibo bolia ese Samsara vitare Bulia rohile tume avidya rabare Tomare loite ami hoinu avatara Ami bina bandhuar ke ache tumara Enechiya ushadi maya Nashibaro lagi Harinama Maha Mantra Lao Tumi Magi Bhaktivedanta Prabhu Charane Pariya Say Hare Nama Mantra Loyo Magiya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, oh. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, faster. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, faster. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, faster. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Speed up, speed up. Speed up more. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jayam Vishwapad Paramhamsa Parivajakacarya Stotra Shata Shri Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishwapad Paramhamsa Parivajakacarya Stotra Shata Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 7, The Killing of the Demon, Trinavarta. We're reading text 32. Yep. Kim nastapaschirnam adoksha jharshanam. Kim nastapaschirnam adoksha jharshanam. Purteshta dattam utabhuta sauhridam. Purteshta dattam utabhuta sauhridam. Yas sampareta punareva balako. Yas sampareta punareva balako. Dishtya swabandhun pranayan upasthita. Dishtya swabandhun pranayan upasthita. Kim nastapaschirnam adoksha jharchanam. Purteshta dattam utabhuta sauhridam. Yat sampareta punareva balako. Dishtya swabandhun pranayan upasthita. Word to word translation. Kim, what kind of? Naha, by us. Tapaha, austerity. Chirnam, has been done for a very long time. Adokshaja, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Archanam, worshipping. Purta, constructing public roads, etc. Ishta, activities for public benefit. Dattam, giving charity. Uta, or else. Bhuta Sauhridam, because of love for the general public. Yat, by the result of which. Sampareta, even though the child was practically lost in death. Punah eva, even again because of pious activities. Balaka, the child. Dishtya, by fortune. Swabandhun, all his relatives. Pranayan, to please. Upasthita, is present here. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīmad ki jai. Translation. Nanda Maharaj and the others said, we must previously have performed austerities for a very long time, worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, performed pious activities for public life, constructing public roads and wells, and also given charity, as a result of which this boy, although faced with death, has returned to give happiness to his relatives. Purport. Nanda Maharaj confirmed that by pious activities one can become a sadhu, so that one will be happy at home and one's children will be protected. In Shastra, there are many injunctions for karmis and jnanis, especially for karmis, by which they can become pious and happy, even in material life. According to Vedic civilization, one should perform activities for the benefit of the public, such as constructing public roads, planting trees on both sides of the road so that people can walk in the shade, and constructing public wells so that everyone can take water without difficulty. One should perform austerity to control one's desires, and one must simultaneously worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, one becomes pious, and as a result, one is happy even in material conditions of life. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So is this continuing the pastime in this chapter? Trinavarta, the demon, has been killed, and for some reason, Krishna is safe, and so here Nanda Maharaj is glorifying his past, perhaps some past pious activities, why he is happy and that his child is happy. So he is saying, The verse starts with Kimna tapaschirnam adoksha jarchanam, meaning what kind of activities did we do? What kind of pious activities did we do? Tapas, which is the austerity, chirnam, for a very long time, for adokshaja, for the Supreme Lord. We must have done some kind of worship, we must have done some kind of public welfare activities, we must have done a lot of good activities, pious activities, for which now, even though the small boy, even though he was faced with death, has returned back from it. So, of course, it couldn't have been Krishna doing it. It couldn't have been this small child looking after or saving himself. It has to have been something else. And Prabhupada in the purport kind of goes with it, actually, with this explanation of Nanda Maharaj of how pious activities actually lead to a happy material life, happy material condition. And Prabhupada explains in the purport how the karmis and the jnanis, they also have something to learn from the scriptures. So it's just like when we are doing our outreach activities, when people come into the door, we don't want to just give in straight Krishna consciousness right on their face that now start chanting Hare Krishna, now surrender to Krishna, bow down here, bow down there, because sometimes new people can get a bit bewildered, like, let me take my time, for people these days, they want to know what's in it for me. They want to find out how is it relevant for me. So what we're trying to do in terms of making this Krishna consciousness relevant for the modern times is actually not starting by us. It was done by Vyasadeva himself. So we can see in the scriptures how there is, of course, explanation of bhakti. There is explanation of how we can advance in Krishna consciousness. But there is also a lot of explanation about karma, as it's explained here in the purport. Prabhupada is explaining how in the scriptures it is mentioned how one can perform different activities so that one can have a good material life. People these days, or in general also, people just want to act freely. People want to just do random things. People want to do whatever makes them happy in the moment. And sometimes they do things which are self-contradicting, like, oh, I like to do it now, and I do it, and the next minute I don't like to do it, and so therefore I don't do it. And so there is no real consistency, it's all just manorathena. It's like riding on the chariot of the mind. The mind tells go there, you go there. Mind tells you go there, you go there. And you're just completely subjugated by the mind. So that's primarily most of the civilization, quite like the four-legged animals. And so Vyasadeva, who is giving all the scriptures, he very well understands the psychology of the people. And he knows that if I give them straight Krishna consciousness, they would not be attracted, they wouldn't want it. So therefore, let me give something that's at least attractive in the beginning. So therefore, here in the scriptures, there's a lot of knowledge and explanation given about how one can live a happy life. Like my brother, I was having a conversation with him, and he was mentioning to me that, your Krishna consciousness is it's like a happy life after this world, after, like you are going to enjoy, but only after this life, isn't it? Like, this life is kind of more or less just suffering, just like struggling, just trying, hoping that there is a bright future at the end of the tunnel, isn't it? And I told him, no, actually it's not the case. Like, actually our lives are quite good. It's actually pretty good. Just like this famous pastime of Prabhupada, and the interviewer asks him that, Swamiji, so you're worshipping God and you're doing all these activities related to Him, but what if at the end of your life you find out that there was no God? What would you do then? And Prabhupada replied, all the devotees were watching him, of course, because Prabhupada always has a great comebacks. And so they were looking at Prabhupada, what will he say now? And Prabhupada said, yes, he said, at the end of my life, he said, if I'm just about to die and I found out that there is actually no God, that it was a mistake. Well, even then, he said, I lived an amazing life. Say, I would wake up in the morning, I would have some good singing and dancing, we would have some good food, there's some good people, things that everyone would want these days. So, at the end of my life, I would have still lived a good life, because after all, I had a great association, great music, clean life, so no problem. She said, still lived a good life. But then Prabhupada asks her, that what if at the end of your life you find out that there was God? What will you do then? So, actually, the happiness is not some kind of an hope that we will get after this life, and that meanwhile we just kind of struggle and suffer. But no, actually, there is happiness even in this life. And by practicing Krishna consciousness, one can have a good, happy material condition of life. So, sometimes devotees might feel that, I'm practicing this, trying to get up early in the morning, not able to do some days, and when I don't get up in the morning, I feel terrible. And there are other days when I do get up and I feel tired and sleepy, and I still feel terrible. And I feel like I want to eat just anything from the supermarket, from the restaurants, but then I just have to restrict myself. I have to check the ingredients and keep checking the ingredients every time, because they keep changing it every time. And then there are all these fasting days, like there's so many fasting days, and you have to just always remind yourself, today is Ekadashi, or today is a half day fast, today is full day fast. So it's like there's so much of struggle, and I think I was just better off before Krishna consciousness, or maybe that this is just too much, that I just have to be on the best behavior every time the devotees are around. I can't just say whatever I want. I can't just do whatever I want. So in that way, it might feel a little bit of a struggle. But like what Prabhupada said, he said, Krishna consciousness may be difficult, but material life is impossible. So it's difficult, and sometimes practicing Krishna consciousness for a few months or even a couple of years, we somewhat forget our material life prior to Krishna consciousness and how much of a suffering there was in it. Just taking in all kinds of objects through the senses. It's like it's not for human consumptions. Eating things, drinking things, smelling things, all kind of things that are just completely not normal. And all the sufferings that happened because of that, that led to that, the consciousness that was just so corrupt, the consciousness so much lusty, so much of a greed, so much of envy towards others. It's like constant sense of dissatisfaction all the time. So now we come into Krishna consciousness, there is somewhat of a relief, even though we may not feel that way, and even though we may have forgotten our life before Krishna consciousness, but there is definitely a certain amount of happiness in living a Krishna conscious life. And that can be said more easily, not necessarily by the devotees themselves, but the friends and the family of the devotees. Or, or sometimes you meet some new people on the street or at the programs, and they look at us and they say, "Oh wow, you look so happy, or you look so peaceful, or you look so like different, like what do you do? What do you have?" and it's very surprising for them. So yes, there's in Krishna consciousness, one can live a very happy, peaceful, positive lifestyle, and scriptures are giving us the process by which we can have that in this lifetime to start with. So that's a very attractive proposal, that okay, well, if I can enjoy you or very soon, then I will give it a try. So Vyasadeva and all the different authorities in the scriptures are actually in that way attracting the readers to not just go around doing anything random, because that's like a nectar in the beginning and poison very soon after, very soon after. So you can live happy life, a regulated happy life now, but in such a way so that not only you will enjoy now, but you will enjoy your whole life. Not that you can enjoy for the teenage, and then by the time you're 20 or 25, you're like completely destroyed. We know people who, in the modern society, people who start taking all kind of substances at the age of 13 or 14, or sometimes I met people who haven't started at the age of 9 or 10. So by the time they're 18 or 19, it's like I've done everything. It's like, oh, what do I do now? I've tried all different things in all different combinations, and it's like nothing left now. So like, what do I do now? Maybe I should go and travel. Now I should go and check out other places and how they do it. But it's kind of the same thing in just different package. And so therefore, the scriptures are here explaining that, no, actually you can enjoy even in this life in a way so that is sustainable, so that you can enjoy your entire life. And not only that you will enjoy, but also your family would enjoy. Your children will enjoy. So it's explained here how Nanda Maharaj is saying that, and Prabhupada is explaining the purport how someone can be happy at home and his children are protected. So yes, so there's this process given, and in that way, once we start practicing, once we start getting into it, once we develop some trust, some faith in the process, then of course scriptures take us further. That okay, this world and this life is not all in all, actually, and the enjoyment that you can experience with your senses is just very limited. How much can you actually enjoy? So therefore, there is something higher, there is something more. Like you can do a little bit of an austerity now. It's a little bit of a struggle and a little bit of suffering, but then you have like a heavenly planets where you can enjoy so much more for a long life. Thousands and thousands of years you will live, and you will enjoy there in the company of beautiful people around you, beautiful circumstances, and very healthy body, no childhood sufferings, no old age sufferings, just born as youth, stay as youth all your life, and then when it's time, then you come back to earth. But anyway, don't worry about it. You can just have a good time in heaven for a long time in higher planetary systems, and you can just enjoy. And of course, as the reader continues to read, then he says, wow, yeah, this is actually good. I can do a little bit of suffering now, but I can have a much longer happiness later. But then if they keep reading, then they understand that, oh, actually, these heavenly enjoyments, the enjoyment of the higher planets, is also very short in comparison to eternity, or in compared to a much long lifespan of Brahma. And then those who keep reading it, then they eventually understand that actually the whole material life itself is temporary and limited. And that there is actually something beyond this material world. And the happiness that's experienced in the spiritual platform is much, much higher. So in that way, the scriptures are building faith onto the readers so that they can progressively develop their consciousness. So here again, Nanda Maharaj is acting like an ordinary person, of course, fully devoted to Krishna. And he's speaking about how these good activities, the pious activities, primarily is speaking about 3 kinds of activities in the translation here. 3 kinds of pious activities. He's talking about activities that are benefiting for others, which are constructing public roads and wells, giving charity, etc. And then we have, and then also he's talking about the austerities performed for a long time, austerity for one's senses. But that's again not enough, because just positive activities for the benefit of others, controlling the senses in themselves are not enough. Because oftentimes just benefiting and doing activities for others can make someone proud, and it kind of defeats the whole purpose of doing the activities for themselves, because the result of getting the recognition, getting the fame, like people do all these beneficial activities for others with a selfie camera, put it on the YouTube and put it on their Facebook and Instagrams, and so it's like, okay, I want some amount of recognition, or even if they don't want any recognition, at least they want some kind of happiness for themselves. So this is some amount of selfishness, some amount of pride there. And even for people who do austerities in terms of controlling the senses for a long time, just the austerities in themselves can make the heart very hard. So therefore, those activities in themselves are not going to be enough. And so therefore, Nanda Maharaj, of course, adds to these 3 kinds of pious activities. He's also explaining about the third one, which is simultaneously worshipping the Lord. So by engaging in serving Krishna, then everything else becomes meaningful. Then everything else becomes useful. Otherwise, it's like running on a treadmill. You're working very hard, not getting anywhere. And most of these activities are actually not really resulting anything better. It's just a little bit more material comfort, but then again, leading to some kind of material problem again. So, so in this way, we're getting some practical recommendation here in the Bhagavatam. And there is in Western understanding of the karma, and there's an Vedic understanding of karma, and and here Nanda Maharaj is explaining how his previous activities is what seems to have led him to a happy life and protection for the child. So, like when we are out on the book distribution, and when we ask people, when we tell them about the books on karma, and they say, yeah, I believe in karma, I love karma. It's okay, what's your understanding of karma? It's, yeah, you do something good, it comes back to you. It's like, yeah, you got it. But actually, what they understand often is what's done in this lifetime is going to come back. But there's hardly an understanding of an afterlife, that, okay, I do something now, and there's going to come back in the future life, or that I have done something in my past lives to come to this life, to get the result in this life. So therefore, they try to act good, hoping that it will be right now, the result will be right now. So what happens is when our conception of life is starting from birth and finishing at death, then the way how we make decisions in life, the way how we live our life will be very different than if we understood that there are consequences from previous lifetimes into this life, and that the choices I make in this life will have an impact in my future lives. So in that way, our perception of the world, our perception of ourselves, how we behave, how we react to situations, completely changes all of a sudden. So there are many examples of people who are benefiting from the previous lifetimes. We know the examples of all these child prodigies who are playing like this amazing piano at the age of 3 or 4, and some of these most amazing compositions by Mozart, and it's like there's no way possible that a 3 or 4-year-old can coordinate the left and right hand with such an amazing precision. So it's obviously means that it's been something that they've been doing for a long time, and that there is a consequence leading up to them being able to play right now. So the modern conception of like, let me just enjoy now and just let me have a good time right now, and then who cares about the future, is not a very good idea. And here again, this understanding of karma and how it's a continuation actually helps us to open up our vision to a bigger life. And I was just catching up with one person just a couple of days ago, and we were discussing about the diet, and somehow we started speaking about diet, and he was mentioning how he eats meat, and because of our friendship, I kind of asked him that, you mind if I say something? Like, would you be offended? Like, and he said, no. He said, I like having a frank, open conversation. I like challenges, put it out. So then I said, like, you understand, like, if you have to eat meat, like, how much suffering the animals go through for you to be able to eat them? When you actually have an option to not eat meat, you can be eating things which are not caused, or not the food that's not caused by so much of suffering or violence. You can actually have food that's more peaceful, more sattvic. And he said, yeah, I know, yeah, animals have to die. I have to eat them, for me to eat them. But he said, I have a goal. He said, what's your goal? He said, I need to be able to lift 500 pounds. He said, once I can get to that, then I'll stop eating meat. Then I will see, I'll think about it. Like, maybe I continue, maybe I don't continue. But for now, he said, I have my goal. I said, and why do you want to live 500? Oh, because I just decided it. It's like, it's got no reason to it. And it's like, I just want to, because I want to do it. So once I get to that, then I'll think about it. Maybe I continue eating, maybe I don't continue eating. And so like, but like, you understand, like it's got like consequences to it. Like, you're creating a lot of suffering, a lot of pain, leading up to just you being able to lift something that doesn't even matter so much. And he's like, yeah, but like, I don't mind. Sometimes I eat like maybe 3 or 4 times a week. I eat red meat. And he said, yeah, and beef also is very good for me, so I eat that. And like, and that's when I couldn't hold. I'm like, okay, like, you eat beef, and like, that's really heavy, because it's, it's your mother. That is a mother? No, it's cow is not my mother. And I know, because we grow up drinking the milk of the mother, and cows are like mother because we drink the milk and they're raised in that sense. So therefore they have the same motherly position, and so therefore just when they are not able to provide for you, you don't kill them and eat them. And for me, it's like, yeah. No, maybe. I don't mind. I don't mind killing and eating. He said, it's serving my purpose right now. It's doing the job right now. Let's just continue. So that was his take. And it's very interesting how material life actually makes us so dull that even though there's so much of pain and there's so much suffering, and that people can clearly see that it's not really the best thing, but it's like, after all, like, it's the survival of the fittest, and I'm the stronger, and so therefore it's justified. I can do it. So this conception here of the afterlife and the conception of karma is actually meant to help person be able to think beyond this one life and be able to tell them that actually, okay, you are worried about enjoyment right now, but do you understand how much suffering you're going to have to go through for your very little enjoyment right now? And but of course, we have a good relationship. I told him, I said, I joined my hands. I said, can I request you one thing? He said, yeah. I said, can I ask you for one favor? You don't mind? He said, no, I don't mind. I said, can you please don't eat beef because it's not good for you? Like, can I request this to you? And they say, yeah, I can do that for you. So I guess he kind of figured that it was really like that I really wanted it. So and just for his friendship, he said, okay, I'll do that for you. And then after the whole conversation, then at the end he says again, he said, and you have my word, I will not eat beef. I said, very good. So even though they don't understand this higher knowledge, somehow if we can help them expand their consciousness beyond these temporary pleasures, then that's a success. So here, Nanda Maharaj is explaining about all the different welfare activities which are leading up to a better life, like material life in this life, having a happy life, having a happy family, and material conditions, and that leading up to a future lives which are more happier. So that is the benefit of doing a pious activities, and as devotees, we should not shy away from benefiting others. Actually, life of a devotee is that we want to benefit others. Sometimes in Krishna consciousness, because life is so good here, is so comfortable in the Krishna consciousness, that and so peaceful that we can get somewhat carried away by it, and we can actually forget the suffering and the problems that people have in the world outside, and so therefore we can get a bit negligent, or we can get a bit slack. So it's equally important that that this pious activities continues on, and we are trying to benefit other people. That means, of course, there's a certain amount of austerity required. This is explained here. Just doing pious activities or benefiting others requires a certain amount of austerity. It's not easy. We have to tax our brains. And Prabhupada said, so much of sweat and blood. But that is required because, of course, someone did that austerity to benefit us, so that we can be sitting here and learning and progressing in our life. So because someone that did that for us, so that's why we are here, that we are able to enjoy a happier material condition as much as possible in this material world. So it's time to pass it on to others, and of the many different pious activities that one can do, it is said that you can feed the poor, but better than just feeding the poor is you educate the poor on how to make his living. So that by educating a poor and to making his living, you are actually breaking the whole cycle. But otherwise, you give the poor man food, and the person is hungry, the next meal is again hungry, and then again someone will have to provide, and the next meal is again hungry, and again someone has to provide. But if you educate that person and train that person to how to get a job and how to look after himself, well then that's the best help, because now he's completely escaping the whole dependency. So in the same way, when we educate the society through this transcendental knowledge and actually teach them how to actually come to the transcendental platform, then we are not solving only the material problems of this one life, but we are actually solving the problems of all the future lives. And in that way, we are creating like a chain reaction. So, and that's the reason why as devotees we are always keen to educate the masses into this transcendental knowledge. By giving them the books, we're actually reaching out to them and we're giving them the knowledge which will not only benefit them in this life, but will also benefit them in the future life, by actually giving them Krishna consciousness. And that's not only benefiting them, but it's also benefiting us. Just like I was discussing with one devotee other day that I can see a lot of progress in my own life and I can see a lot of growth in my own self, primarily because of book distribution. By trying to help others, trying to educate others, I'm constantly trying to learn how I can teach them. And that's why teacher has to always be learning at the same time, and we have to always understand the psychology of others, how they will be more recipient, how they'll be more fertile, how will they be more keen to receive the knowledge that we have to give. So how can I give it? Maybe I can give like this, maybe I can give like this, maybe I can give like this. And in that way we are constantly thinking, and that way we make progress ourselves. So, so this sharing of the books, sharing of this knowledge is actually, as Prabhupada says, the ultimate beneficial activity for everyone, for the giver and for the receiver, to live a happy material condition of life. So now that we have school holidays, for the school goers and the supporters of the school goers, we can utilize this time. We can try and share this knowledge, share these books. Maybe we do like a 1 book a day challenge for the 2 weeks of school holidays. That'll be good. And so yeah, keep yourself available and try to participate in this pious activity. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any comments, any corrections, any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing that story between the conversation between you and your friend. And I understand much more about karma and sharing that. I believe a lot of people actually just do the karma because based on their convenience and something that serves the purpose. And talking about the mother cows, I would like to just understand what's your point of view, what's your take on it. And so currently, you know, in the dairy industry and in the supermarkets, all the dairy products that we get comes from suffering. And you said meat also comes from suffering. We should avoid as much suffering as we can. So the dairy products nowadays all come from suffering. All the mother cows are sent to slaughterhouses. Their babies are sent to slaughterhouses. And by us supporting these big industries, who actually doesn't care about animals and just care about the money that they get from us, what is your take on how can we not support this bad karma? Or what is your take on this?
Yeah, it's natural for a devotee to feel compassion for the suffering living entities. And anyone who says that they are not aware of the suffering, then it's quite out there at the moment. So in finance, the rule is that how does it go? The need creates the just skip my mind now. Is supply and the demand. So when there is a demand, there is a supply. And of course, because people are demanding more and more, and so there is more and more cruelty, more and more violence, and the animals are treated more as an objects, commodity. So, as devotees, at least in Melbourne, we have the option of having a cruelty-free milk, and as devotees, as much as possible. For most devotees, somehow, if we can work it out and if we can make it possible, that's the best. Because, of course, it's not only that those animals are suffering, but actually mother cow is also suffering. Mother cow dairy also, because there's not enough consumption from the mother cow dairy. So, naturally, the devotees who are working very hard to create, to provide for this milk, as not enough devotees are buying that milk, so it's a problem for them also. So, yes, somehow we have to become aware, at least to start with, and if we can prioritize that, because again, in the Bhagavatam we hear how cows are very dear to Krishna, and so it's like an austerity to go for something that's obviously a little bit more expensive, and sometimes it's not practical for some people, but this is the way to go for us.
So there is knowingly a karma generated and unknowingly as well. Like, okay, there are a lot of people who are aware that this happens and they still support. But then there are a lot of people who are probably not aware, and they're like, okay, so ignorance is bliss. Sometimes people just want to live in ignorance, and sometimes people, they understand, but they still continue with their convenience and purpose. So what do you have to say on, and maybe explain a little bit about karma?
Yeah, the karma is hard to understand. You're offering to Krishna, devotees can say it's offered to Krishna, it's all prasadam, so no karma, hard to say. But regardless, as devotees, we should be more aware of where our food, where our milk is coming from, and make more conscious choice. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the nice class. You were talking about material happiness and spiritual happiness. So my question is, when we take prasadam, engage ourselves in the process by chanting and dancing, we experience this bliss. So would that bliss be like a drop of what is there in the spiritual world? Or is that the full amount of bliss that we're experiencing if we're pure enough?
Yeah, when we first walk into the temple, and we chant and dance with the devotees, and when we become pure devotees, completely perfected in our spiritual life, we'll be chanting and dancing with devotees, maybe in the same temple room. So it's the same activity, but there's a whole spectrum between the two, and we all of us are somewhere in between. Like in this journey of Gopakumar in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, how he's constantly his association with the devotees, and how he's going from one planet to another, and finally comes back to the Vrajabhumi, back to the earth, Vrindavan in earth. And then when he comes back, he says, actually this Vrajadham is actually even better. And then he goes around, and then he goes to Brahma Jyoti, and then he comes back again to Vrajabhumi. And he says, wow, actually this is even better. So it's the same activity, but because the consciousness is constantly progressing, is getting more purified, is relishing the same activities more and more and more. So what we are experiencing right now in our chanting and dancing, would that be the same in the spiritual world? Or would that be the same later in our life? Hopefully it'll be better. If we are doing everything right, it should be better. It should be more deeper. And the happiness experience should be a lot more denser, more thicker. Our longing for Krishna should be more. So it's obviously a sign of progress. And if we keep continuing this, if we keep up with the process without making any offenses to the devotees primarily and to the process, then actually the happiness experienced is actually quite progressive. And when we get to the spiritual world, the happiness there of chanting and dancing is far more than what we're experiencing right now. But then the happiness there is also constantly expanding. So in other words, Krishna consciousness is ever expanding. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Granth Raj, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.
Purusham Bhāgavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Bhagom Higamaniya Vishesha Shobham
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakale Priya Priti Manti Vasya